Today we're here with Ramen Adventures, Brian. This is a guy that I've known for, I don't know, has it been like about a year and a half or something like that?
That's about right, a year and a
Yeah,
half, I think.
yeah. I mean, give me your self promo here.
Sure, I'm Brian from Ramen Adventures. I'm a ramen critic, ramen hunter, ramen writer out here in Japan, in Tokyo, Japan.
I got the, I
I've
got the
been
book.
writing about the ramen scene. Oh, yeah, there's my book.
Yeah.
I've been doing writing about the ramen scene and just eating ramen since 2008, pretty much. And
Oh wow.
I've done a ton of projects related to ramen, and that's it, man. Everything ramen.
So I'm sure that this is the number one question that you get, but it's I've never actually asked you, but like why ramen?
Oh man, I don't know. To be honest, I just kind of got the bug. Like it was really interesting to go around to all these shops. The thing with all these good ramen shops is that a lot of them are just one-offs with, one chef working there, sometimes a mom and pop, and they're all a lot of them they're delicious, but it was just kind of fun, like going to all these places, seeing a different scene, lining up, and kind of cataloging it, writing about it.
Mhm.
It became a little obsession, but yeah, that's it. And there's a ton of Japanese people kind of doing what I do, or at least just eating, hundreds and hundreds of bowls of ramen every year. So I know it's something that not only myself and a few other foreigners are into.
I didn't really understand the obsession until I went with you to a few places. And before that, I would never stand in line. If I saw a line, I'd be like, nah, I know it's good, but it's not worth it for me. I just
Yeah,
didn't
that's
feel like,
normal. That's
yeah,
normal.
is that a normal
Normal
reaction for people?
California behavior.
that is, I guess, normal California. But line, screw that. Three people, nah, I'll go eat at Denny's. But I gotta say that your passion has kind of rubbed off on me as far as the way that you look at ramen, the way that you it's not just okay, this is lunch, but this is something that really means a lot to you. And when we talk about it afterwards, like the soup, the noodles, it's not just a basic food. It actually has a story to it, like the place that we just went to, right?
Yep.
Like a guy's dad spoke to him in his dream about a recipe, and then bam, like that's so cool. And I love that comes through. I've been on your blog quite a few times. I've watched your YouTube videos, so I know like you really are good at sharing that passion with people. I think you told me this a long time ago, but you started with just the blog, right?
That's right. At first, it was a blog spot. I actually
Yeah.
have another blog that I was doing since the first day I came to Japan. It's called Japan Bash.
Japan Bash. Is it
I hmm?
like a celebration, or are you bashing Japan?
Well, okay, so there was maybe the original Japan Life blogger. I mean, this is before YouTube, so there were no
Yeah.
vloggers, but the original blogger, this guy, I forget his name, but his his website was called Gaijin Smash, and
Oh,
it
I've
was
heard of
just
it. Yeah.
if it's still out there, man, it's such a good read. It's just about this guy's, stories of coming, teaching English, and he had this story where the all powerful, like, I think he was talking about smacking kids around with the Gaijin Smash. I don't remember, but I I was like, I like that name, and actually mine was first Gaijin Bash, and then I changed it to Japan Bash because just
Just
wanted to get rid of that name. And yeah, it's still out there, I think. But anyway, so I was already blogging quite often about Japan life, and I started putting these ramen shop reviews on my Japan Bash site. And some friends were like, "Yo, all you do is talk about ramen now. What's going on?" But then I made the second site.
Okay, so that was that also around 2008, or was that a little bit later?
I think I made Ramen Adventures in October of 2008.
Wow.
And I made Japan Bash probably in 2006 sometime, maybe. I don't know.
Wow. Okay. All right. Yes. So, I came to Japan around 2007, and I really wanted to do things exactly like that. Have a blog, have something, but I just didn't get into it. I was just doing social media, which looking back is kind of a waste of time,
Right.
unfortunately. But you took that, your interest in Japan. I guess you were posting photos of at that point everything, but it was primarily moving toward ramen, and that's why you kind of went that direction. But Ramen Adventures, fantastic name. I mean, it just really snaps. Ramen Adventures, and I love that.
Yeah, I have no idea how I came up with that. I cannot remember at all.
I mean, it's very simple, but it's good that you took it first because it's just like I've seen other ramen channels too, but nothing just pops like that. So I think that's great. Then you mentioned to me before that your blog caught attention of something. There was something that got you that traction that got you into YouTube and other things was from an article, right? Something along those
Yeah,
lines.
this writer from the New York Times, he came out, and ramen was just taking off in New York. It was becoming this fad. This writer, what is it? The Frugal Traveler. Is that it? Oh man, I can't remember now. His name was Matt Gross, but anyways, the New York Times has like a frugal travel
Mhm.
writer, and he came out and he wanted to eat ramen for 1 week nonstop in Tokyo and write about it. And I met up with him a few times and kind of helped him out and talked to him a lot about it. When he wrote the piece. It ended up making the front page of the travel section on the weekend of the New York Times, which is pretty big, man.
Yeah, damn.
And yeah, after that, I started getting interest from Japanese media because the Japanese media loves New York Times. And then other restaurant people, other media people were contacting me. They wanted me to go on tours in Japan. People wanted me to be on TV shows and magazines, doing interviews, things like that. So it started to take off a little bit. And then I started to take it a little more seriously on my own end as well.
Wow. So it was it kind of instant? Was it like you just started getting flooded by requests?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as that article came out, I got a bunch of TV gigs out in Japan.
Wow.
And, I think some magazine translated the New York Times article, and they wanted
Okay.
photos of the writer eating ramen, and I had taken some of those. So they had a professional photographer for the New York Times article, but this magazine wanted photos. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I found some photos of the guy, gave them to him. They're like, okay, so please send us a receipt. I'm like, what? And they paid me like $500 for these 4 photos,
Wow.
which I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Oh man, this is maybe there's something in this. Let me start capping in, baby.
Well, it's funny. It's so Japanese because you already sent it to them without a thought, right? And I feel like if it was America, they would be like, "Thanks, sucker." But here they're like, "Okay, let's pay you $500 for that."
Oh
That's
yeah,
like,
ever since then, I mean, it's constantly getting requests for articles or photos or something or a lot of work for well, we'll give you some exposure. Come on, buddy.
I mean, so we've had ramen together, I guess 3 or 4 times, I think at this
Yeah.
point, and I feel like wherever we go, people just know you. So you have been in this industry for so long. I mean, the last place we went, the guy was just like, "This is the number one foreigner that knows about ramen." He was just very excited to see you. He recognized your glasses. He's like right away, he knew you. Did you get that pretty often as you travel through Japan? You go to a ramen shop, they're like, "Ah, it's this guy."
Yeah, I'd say like maybe a quarter of ramen shops might know
Wow.
who I am. Not all of them are going to say something. Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky enough to have worked for some big Japanese publications. So my first one, I worked with this guy Abram, the Ramen Beast. So it was me and him, and we were both super rookies at the time. We didn't really know what was going on, but we had some passion. I'll give us that. And we had this corner in the magazine called Weekly Playboy.
Weekly Playboy. That sounds
Yeah,
about
it's a
right.
it's a men's magazine. It's still out here. You can see it in any convenience store around Japan.
Okay.
It's 10 pages of girls in bikinis and then articles followed by more pictures of girls in bikinis. And the articles are anything that men enjoy. You can use your imagination on that. But we had a corner called the Ramen Americans, and it was me and Abram just chatting about ramen every week. So people
Wow.
saw that, people read it, and now I'm working with Ramen Walker magazine, which is kind of the biggest ramen guide, ramen
Mhm.
critique magazine in Japan. It's an annual magazine covering the whole country. So yeah, some people might recognize it there. And then you do a couple TV gigs, and Japanese people, they love watching these food TV shows.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's probably one of the most popular things in Japan.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, over the top comedy where people are basically in a lot of pain, and then food. It's like there's like not really much of a in between, But
Yeah, I mean, usually, yeah, that's it, man. You summed it up.
yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I'm just curious. I feel like as we've we travel by bike, by boat sometimes. We do a lot of streams together and things, but I've picked your brain a little bit about how you got into all this. But the problem I feel with streams is that it's a one-time thing and it's gone. So what I'm really excited about doing a podcast is having some of these interesting stories be actually here, like set. Like people can come back and see them. They're not just a VOD that disappears.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I get it.
So I really would love, and I think the viewers would love to hear, like maybe one of your really interesting stories from TV. You told me a couple, but something where something kind of outrageous happened. I remember there was, what was that? You told me a story about Atsugiri Jason, I think.
Yeah, I was just thinking that one.
Yeah, that might be a good one.
I hate this story so much, man.
Oh,
no. I mean, I don't hate it, but it's.
I know what you mean. But
so,
yeah, go ahead and tell it.
I had this TV gig. This show is called Kanjam 8. So it's with these Johnnies, this Johnnies group.
Okay,
so it's like a boy band.
Yeah.
And they basically every week, I don't know if it's still on, but every week they would have a couple special guests and they would just jam with them. So it'd be like some jam sessions and then some, whatever little corners, talking about stuff they like or interviews and different things. So anyways, there's this girl, Carrie Piamu, who's still a little famous, right? She's kind of this Harajuku style singer girl. But she had tweeted that she liked ramen a few times.
Oh.
So they were like, oh, let's get this Ramen Guy. I had just released a book at the time, so I guess I was on the radar. And like, let's get this Ramen Guy to introduce a couple good ramen shops. So yeah, introduced a couple shops I'm into, one EAK place and another like Shio Ramen. So it was her on there, and it was also this guy, Yoshiki. Now, I didn't know who Yoshiki was, but then I looked him up the day before, and I was like, oh, this guy's music's pretty dope.
Right, he's like a rock star, right?
Yo, he's like a rock god out here.
Yeah.
The guy is he's like Van Halen of Japan. He's a member of X Japan, which is one of the biggest groups ever. Okay. And I just didn't, know who he was. And so we go on this show, and I'm ready. I'm good to go. I come out. Usually you have a bit of a script, so I learned it. My Japanese is okay, but it's not like great. Sometimes if I get caught up, man, it's over. I run out. We're filming. It's my turn to come out. Welcome, Brian. And one of the members of this boy band is like, Jason, Jason. And I'm like, what? Going off script, I guess. Okay. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not Jason. No, I'm Brian. Okay.
You didn't know that guy at the time, right?
I had no idea what they're talking about. And then a little bit later on, the guy, he turns to me and just asks me a question. He's like, what did he say?
Like, why Japanese people?
Brian, why Japanese people? Why Japanese people? If you've never heard this phrase, I'd never heard this phrase.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I don't know. I like Japanese people. What's going on? I turned to Yoshiki, this rock god who I barely knew, because I know he speaks English. I was like, Yoshiki, what are they talking about? He goes like, I don't know. It's some like thing from TV. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. So I just got, they just freaking, it was stupid. And then, of course it all got cut, but I mean, it could have been pretty funny if I knew what they were talking about, because I could have played off it. But then like weeks later, man, I'm in an elevator and I see there's this advertisement on the wall. Some goofy ass white dude with glasses.
Yep.
And it says, why Japanese people under it. I'm like, what? I pull my Japanese friend over. I'm like, yo, what is this? She's like, oh, that's Atsugiri Jason. This is his catchphrase. He's like super famous right now. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I'm a white guy with glasses.
Yep.
They were comparing me to this other guy, and like, oh man, like I don't know, and that dude was like super famous for like 3 months,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then I guess he's still around, but
He's on. I think he's on. His Japanese is perfect. I think pretty much. So he's on Japanese TV a lot. Maybe not so much anymore, but he started out as like a YouTuber, and he would just be like, kanji for 1 / kanji 2 / kanji three slashes, kanji 4. Why Japanese people?
Yeah,
and that was like his. That was his
funny,
shtick.
man.
Yeah, it was funny, but
but
it's funny to a certain degree, right? Like, but
man.
yeah, but that's it. That's really funny because. If you had seen it, because I mean he just jumped like out of nowhere from YouTube to Japanese television. Like I didn't know who he was, and suddenly everybody was talking about him. So I kind of know roughly about when that would have been for you. But yeah, so it could have made the situation a lot better if you actually knew, like you could play along with it a bit, right?
Yeah, and like, and then also I probably should have known who Yoshiki was and like taking a picture with him or something, because I mean I was literally
That's wild that you were like talking to the guy. He's a legend, right?
Yeah.
He's on an energy drink right now. Have you seen that one?
The dude is all over the place, man.
He is.
Yeah, he's based in LA now. He's like best friends with Marilyn Manson, and it's weird, man.
Okay, that's
yeah. Man, the more you know.
All right, so that's pretty cool. And you've been on TV just a ton of times. I mean, even my favorite ramen shop, which doesn't do ramen anymore, sadly. I looked it up on your blog, and you actually were there with some teen idols or something like that.
Yeah, that was a gig. Actually, me and Abram had that because of the weekly Playboy magazine.
Oh, okay.
We did this show where we met up with these junior idols. These girls were like elementary school and junior high. They were so young, and we would go around to ramen shops, and they were all dressed up, and they'd have to speak in English. They'd have to comment about the ramen in English, and it was just like, they can't speak English, it's goofy.
Yeah. Hold on. So
stupid show.
So to lead, well, it sounds just like Japanese TV. It's perfect.
Exactly.
But they took 2 guys who write for a dirty magazine to lead some elementary and junior high school girls around.
Dude, I mean,
hold on. No, go ahead. But
this men's magazine, yeah, it's every once in a while you open it and you're like, oh man, this girl in bikini looks pretty young, and then you look at her profile and you're like, okay, there's a 14-year-old girl, and
wow, okay, yeah, I've heard stories about that.
Like, all right, there you go.
It's kind of mind-blowing that that's a thing in Japan, but
why
yeah.
Japanese people?
why Japanese people? Why? That's good. How about as far as ramen shops that you've been to, is there anything where it's just like something that you can't make up, just a crazy story that happened while you were going to a ramen shop or at a ramen shop? You've told me a few like kind of small stories, situations where they're very strict or they didn't want you back or something like that, but is there anything kind of that has happened that just blows your mind at any of these ramen shops?
This just popped in my head. Actually, 2 stories popped in my head, both
Sure.
dealing with like Japanese gangsters.
Oh yes, all right.
Yeah, right. So I'm in where am I? Obihiro, Hokkaido.
Okay, all right.
It's this deep middle of nowhere place up there.
I've never
They're
heard of
famous
it.
for pork bowls, like pork over rice.
Okay.
Whatever. But anyways, like I'm lining up for this ramen shop, and this dude stumbles out, and someone in line, this kind of tough looking guy, just socks him in his face, lays this dude out, like right in front of me. Dude is on the ground. This is winter, man. Crazy. Some like girl comes out of the shop and this is like apologizing and like drags this guy away. This dude just got his clock cleaned. It was crazy.
Damn.
So then when I go and sit down, like it's all these like kind of nightlife looking girls sitting in there and a bunch of like, tough looking dudes. And right next to me is like sitting the Godfather. So some like real, some gangster guy. And we just start like chatting just about nothing. And then the guy like pays for everyone at the counter. And
of course he does. Yeah, that sounds right.
Going on here, right? But just to see some dude get like knocked out, like some clown who just said the wrong thing to the wrong guy and just gets
Bro, I just looked at him wrong.
oh,
So, but he was pretty cool though, right? You actually got to talk to him for a while.
yeah. Well, I was like making jokes with everybody in there because it was a real chatty type of ramen place. And yeah. But something that was something that I don't know why that came to mind.
Do you?
And the other gangster
Oh yeah,
one,
go ahead. Go ahead. No, go for
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Dude, it was this place. It was the best ramen shop ever. It closed down. It actually rebranded. It's called Rokurinsha. It's super famous, but it's in Haneda Airport now. But their original shop, the line was around the entire block. It was massive. And they would fill the whole shop with people. And then when everybody finishes, everyone leaves and they fill it again with the new group. So it was a system that just doesn't work unless people make it work. Yeah. But there were these chimpira looking dudes in front of me. Chimpira is like low level gangster, real tacky clothing.
Street trash.
Yep. So these two chimpira right in front of me in line, and the wait was like an hour and a half, slowly moving up.
Holy crap.
And then when we got to the front, this white Mercedes pulls up, all tinted out. The door opens, driver gets out, opens the door, and like the boss gets out. And these two chimpira like deep bow. And then the dude hops in line. They were holding this place.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, the Godfather, he ain't waiting in line, man. You kidding me? So they were holding his place, and then he jumps in line. We get in, we crush this Skaman and jump out. Yep, super interesting.
Do you get to talk to him as well, or just
that was like a serious place, man. No chatting in there, man. It was like you get your noodles if you don't want to be the last one to finish out of that group because you're holding up the entire next group.
Yeah, the first time we had ramen together, I was completely shocked because I've always thought of ramen as you just take your time and eat it. I never really looked around to kind of see what people were doing, and as I said before, I never waited in line, so I'm not going to the really good places, pretty much. So,
yep.
You ate your ramen in something like, I don't know, like 2 minutes. It was just done, and I felt like I was so behind, but actually, after a couple times now, I feel like I've gotten that a little bit more technique. I'm not spraying it everywhere like before, but I might tell that story with Abram because he's the one who almost got splashed with the ramen. But that last place that we went, that was probably in my top 3, honestly, of ramen I've ever had because
very good.
Yeah, that was nice. The Niboshi.
Yep.
So, but you said something very interesting when we were waiting in line, which was how ramen's supposed to work, how a ramen customer is supposed to work, and how the whole system is dependent on this people eating quickly, but also this sort of clockwork of in and out for profit, right, for everything. So I was just, if you could go through that again, because I thought that was super interesting.
Yeah, well, the way ramen shops work, and a lot of these shops, they're tiny, man. They're talking 5, 6, 7 seats, and their costs are not that expensive. And recently, they're getting really good ingredients. The ingredient costs are getting up there, so they really rely on turnover. Like they're selling, let's say 150, 200 bowls a day.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah.
They got to get that out, and they're relying on the turnover. And the way people eat ramen, it's like you get in, you slurp, you get out. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, they're done within 10 minutes. I think the average time for a customer in Japan is 15 minutes in a ramen shop.
Wow. Okay.
So it's quick. Yeah, and turnover is good, and it lets the business work at that pace. And if people are taking too long, it's tough for business, but also, when you're waiting in these lines, sometimes you're waiting 30, 40 minutes, an hour. And if everybody's taking twice as long, man, you're waiting twice as long in line, and that's going to be a tough experience. So, yeah, that's just kind of the way it is out here. Mm-hmm. Everybody does it. Also the noodles, they do get soggy rather quickly. Ramen noodles do. kind of one aspect of these Chinese style ramen noodles is that they soak up the soup
Oh,
at
I
a
didn't know
faster
that.
rate.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a chemical thing, man. With this, ramen's made with alkaline salts called kansui, which the origin of it from China. They started making noodles using this water from this lake in Mongolia, and this lake is kind of alkaline, so it's
Okay.
basic. So the chemistry of the water was basic from these alkaline salts in the rocks. And they were like, "Dang, these noodles are super good." And then when they sort of figured out, like, okay, you use this special stuff in the water, it kind of chemically interacts with the gluten and makes these noodles different.
It's this is science. This is incredible. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
Next time you have some ramen, like hold up the noodles and look, and they're actually a little translucent.
okay.
And this is like a chemistry thing. Whereas something like a pasta noodle, you're not getting that translucentness
Right.
and that's why, spaghetti doesn't like soak up the sauce so much.
Yeah. But is this pretty universal for all ramen shops, or is it mainly to a certain type?
Now, this is how ramen noodles are made. They're made with
Wow.
the flour and the kansui. So this is ramen. This is like the definition of ramen. It's got to have these types of noodles. Of course, there are some people doing slightly different variations, but this is basic ramen 101.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do you talk about that in any of your books?
I think I do talk about it in my cookbook, and
Mhm.
I forgot what I talk about in my Japanese book. A
Wait.
long
So
time.
the book I have is your ramen recipes book. What's the other book?
I wrote a Japanese book back in, oh man, I don't know, 2014 or 15 or 16 or something like that. It's kind of a guidebook, like
Okay.
50 shops around Tokyo.
Oh, all
It's a
right.
little outdated now. And then, there's some stories in there just about life in Japan and ramen hunting in general. But yeah, it's kind of an old book. I'm guessing it's out of print now. I don't know.
Do you?
Might be on Amazon Japan.
Yeah, I'll find links. Everything will be in the description below. But I'm wondering. So you said it's a Japanese book. So did you have someone help you translate it, or did you actually like sit there and?
Yeah, the publisher translated it
Oh wow,
for me.
nice.
Yeah, I wrote it in English, and
This book that I have right here.
yeah, ramen at home.
I'm actually I started cooking this year. It's like my thing is I'm trying to eat a little healthier, lose some of that
Nice,
weight,
nice.
But I'm actually very excited to get into this and try out some of these recipes. You were
I don't think
mentioning
it's gonna help you lose any weight.
probably not, but it's better to eat something I made at home than to go eat, McDonald's, which was quite on the menu. More than it should have been last year. Damn those specialty burgers. I had the Diablo burger yesterday at Burger King, and it was amazing, but it was $14. Uh,
Oh, okay,
it's it,
interesting.
it was spicy though, so it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Oh,
I am excited to check this out. So you got it says over 100 classic and creative recipes. That's wild, man. How long did it take you to put this book together? Honestly,
uh,
this is thick.
only a couple months actually.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, when the publisher reached out to me, their deadline was like insane. They were like, okay, we need the whole thing done in 1 month. I'm like, oh my god, are you serious? So I reached out to this ramen school that I work with in Osaka, and I was like, yo, give me easy recipes, give me a bunch. I'll tweak some of them.
Mhm.
So some recipes are like chashu, like extra chashu. That's next recipe, or like
Yeah,
one without any toppings, kake soba, another recipe. But I tie it together with some stories. But
that's great, man.
yeah, we got
That's
these recipes, a bunch of side recipes as well.
then didn't someone it's translated into a bunch of other languages as well, right?
It's in Polish as
Polish,
well.
okay.
I don't know why. It just suddenly showed up in Polish.
So somebody actually recognized you from the book because they had the Polish version, I think.
Yeah, there's actually a very famous Polish live streamer here in Japan,
Ah,
Aiko Emil,
right, yeah, Emil.
and
Yeah.
this guy has a YouTube channel and
Mhm.
and he's a Twitch streamer. He does Polish language, and yeah, we met up and people were like, "Yeah, oh, I know this guy. I bought his book." So yeah,
Wow.
super interesting.
That
Super
is
interesting.
that is so cool. Yeah, Emil's a great guy. Yeah. Just saw him the other day, actually. We went to we called it the Samurai Festival because it was supposed to be a samurai festival, but it was terrible. We waited and waited and waited, and it was just like this. It was pretty low budget after all that time. But yeah, so you would have been on his stream, and people are actually recognizing you. Is there any other language it was translated to, or just Polish?
That's all I know of.
Okay.
Yeah, I should
So
check.
random.
Actually, my publisher didn't tell me that it got translated, and I remember I saw my name like hashtagged on Instagram. I was like, who hashtags my last name? And then it was like some Polish person who had translated. I was like, what? Okay. I guess this happened.
Actually, that's an interesting point because you and I are, of the content creators I know, there's not many that actually share their full name or, personal details quite often. Has that caused any problems for you, or has it been fine?
Yeah, I think it's okay. Way back in the day, before any sort of content, when I just had the blog, I did have a troll, so I had to turn off commenting on my website.
Wait, you had a ramen blog troll? Wow, the
Yeah,
internet.
he had some troll and was, but he kept using my last name, like, it's MacDuckston, but he was changing the D to an F. And,
oh boy.
And it was just every single post he was commenting some corny thing, like, man, I just got to turn off comments. There's no way to deal with this.
Probably the head moderator of JCJ now, huh?
Whoa, could have been, man, could have been.
Wow, okay, but that's not too bad. How about your YouTube? Did you get any trolls on YouTube?
Not really.
That's good.
YouTube's been generally cool. I do get, I look a particular way. Like, I do have some Jewish features, and
oh boy,
I got the big nose. I dress kind of goofy sometimes. Like, I wear fashion like above my attractiveness level sometimes. So I get people commenting like, who's this goofy dude? And I wear the big glasses, and I do it. Something like that. But, that's,
that's just normal. That's normal internet stuff.
My big nose as much as you want, man. Ain't gonna phase me. I'm 44 years old. I think I haven't been down this route.
Right. So the YouTube came about, it wasn't something you actually really wanted to do, right, originally?
Yeah, YouTube originally, this group reached out to me called Yummy Japan.
Yummy Japan.
Yeah, and they were one of these, what do they call them? MCN? Content networks, basically like a management system. Like, they exist out there. Every once in a while they reach out to me again. They'll be like, hey, like, we'll manage your YouTube channel and then we'll pay you. They basically take control of the money and then they give you a cut. It's a system out there. But these people were trying to make a Japanese portal all about food, and they hit me up. They said, do you want to make YouTube? I'm like, not really. I don't want to make video at all. But then they said, we'll film and edit the videos.
Wow.
I was like, oh, okay. Like, that's zero effort on my part, just having fun. Yeah. So yeah, I did it. It was cool. They helped build the channel. And then the one person working for them who was the kind of liaison with the foreigners, with the talent or the creators, she left. So, they weren't really helping me out anymore. They were just taking a cut. And this was back when I was actually making money on YouTube. So then I was like, man, I don't want to give these guys money for doing nothing anymore. So
yeah,
took it over myself. And then the views stopped. So I don't know. Maybe they actually were helping out the side. Who knows?
Well, was it difficult to take that over? Was there any? Did you face anything? Sort of transitioning from a management company issue with that, or was it pretty smooth?
I mean, I had to learn how to edit.
Okay.
I didn't edit it, so I had to learn how to edit. I had started shooting on my own for a little bit, so I was kind of comfortable with that. But yeah, I just had to learn about that, and it's YouTube, so you got to be real motivated to succeed in this.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. You gotta put out content, and other things came up and this and that. So my channel is not doesn't get the views that it used to, but this is YouTube. It's interesting.
Well, that's cool. So there wasn't any legal trouble or anything. You were able to just kind of be like, all right, it's my channel now. No problem.
Oh yeah. That's straightforward. I mean, I don't really know how these things work that well, but yeah. I just knew that, like, okay, let me take this over, and and try to do it myself.
The views thing I think is pretty universal. Like most content creators I know are, that have big channels have been struggling compared to maybe 5-10 years ago. So I think it's there's a lot more competition. There's a lot more stuff out there. I'm really sad that short form content has become such a mainstream thing. Do you see yourself getting into TikTok or doing YouTube Shorts? Because that
Man.
right now YouTube seems to reward channels that are mixing up the long form content with shorts and things like that. So
Yeah, I mean the honest answer is I'd like to do it, but I gotta find something that I can do regularly.
mm-hmm.
Right now, I wake up every morning, I write for like an hour every day, so that's kind of the routine, so it
Oh
works.
wow, yeah.
But yeah, these short form things, I'd like to. My buddy was in town a few weeks ago, and he's like the number one vintage watch TikToker in the world.
What what a,
He
what a
does
title! I
TikTok,
like that.
yeah, about just like talking about vintage watches, and he sells them. He travels around the world buying them, and it's just commentary stuff. And I did learn a lot from him and kind of his flow and how he does it and how he edits. And so there's I do have some ideas, but it's just something that you got to get into.
Yeah.
It seems like it could be fun. And the good thing about making short form content like that is you can just throw it across all your platforms.
Yes.
TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, they
Mm-hmm.
all have they all like these 1 minute long videos these days. So yeah, who knows? I got a lot on my plate right now, so we'll see.
Well, what a lot of big time creators such as yourself do is they find someone who would be interested, especially for the experience, to just like hash out some of their videos and create that. That might be something that would be possible in the future too.
Like
Uh,
find an editor.
yeah, 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 yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
I used to have an editor, cool guy, this guy Andy, and
oh,
he wasn't charging me that much, but even what he was charging me, I was like, I'm like, this YouTube channel is just costing me now. Like,
right, right,
I'm not
right.
making it back. And then, once he realized his worth, he wanted to charge a little more, and then I'm like, man, I just like I can't pay money for this thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's kind of like I said, I'm not even at that stage yet. But people always say, "Why don't you get an editor to help you?" Like, no, I don't have the
Well,
money or want to spend money right now on
a lot
on
of the
that. But
Twitch guys, they get just like they'll have fans who'll be like, "Yo, let
yeah,
me help you out. I'll do it for you." So that's always an option. Just if someone wants to come in and
you hear that? Okay,
help
guys.
you
So
out.
anyone watching this video, if you want to get some experience making some shorts and help Brian out, give him a call. Well, don't call him. I don't think I won't have his number down here. Mail him something. But yeah, that's cool. Then you just started kind of as I joined you 2 weeks ago or something for this ramen tour. This is sort of a new thing that you're doing, or is it new, or is it are you restarting it?
Well, I've been doing tours
Mhm.
for a long time now as sort of a side hustle.
Yeah.
So I take tourists around for like a few hours, usually like a two-shop lunch tour or two-shop dinner tour or ramen and yakitori. Just do these casual food tours,
Mhm.
and they're ramping back up. Before Corona, I was doing like 2 or 3 a week, and it's good fun. But there's another platform that I want to use, the Airbnb Experiences
Right.
platform.
I'll have that down in the description as well.
Yeah, but the thing about it is all my other tours are private,
Mhm.
so I can just charge, I can charge a fee that I'm comfortable with. But with Airbnb, you have to charge per person.
Okay. Right.
And so if one person signs up, it's not worth my time, man. It's not even worth getting out of bed, uh, to be honest. But then, if 6 people show up, like, oh yeah, it's a nice little chunk of money. So I wanted to make some kind of tour that I would be comfortable with, even if like I don't make money. So I started this new concept on Airbnb where it's ramen and craft beer with a YouTuber.
Nice.
So we
I
meet
like that.
up. We're not going to some shop that I guarantee you'll like. We're going to some place I haven't been to. We're ramen hunting. So we're gonna go to a new shop, a rookie shop, maybe a shop I've been to that has limited stuff going on. Whatever. We're doing ramen hunting. We're taking the train somewhere. Then we go back to Shinjuku, have a craft beer, and I record the whole thing on YouTube, throw it
Mhm.
together, make a video. And yeah, it looks like it'll be a fun concept. We'll see if it picks up or not. But yeah, whether or not it does, I don't really care. It's just a fun idea. And right now I'm doing it with creative people in
Mhm.
Tokyo and trying to get some videos out about that. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I think that's great because what you're doing is you're making it. You can still go on your Ramen Adventures. You can still make YouTube videos. So yeah, I like that. Regardless of whether 1 or 6 people show up, that's pretty awesome. Is there a way to book the private tours through your website, or is primarily just people know how to contact you for them? It's more
Yeah, at the top of my site, ramenadventures.com, there's a link for tours, food tours.
nice. Okay,
You can just hit me up there, email me directly.
that's always better, right? Because Airbnb takes their cut, and it's a little bit more strict as well, right?
Yeah, and the Airbnb one is sort of like it's this ramen hunter tour, and if you have a private group, you might want to think about grabbing me as for one of my tours directly.
Well, as someone who's been on the ramen tour with you, we did the ramen. Uh, I'm assuming you're not going to do the loop ride with people, but the, that was
Oh my gosh, those
um,
things sucked, man. These little rental scooters, they got all around the world now. They're capped at 15 kilometers an hour in Japan. What's that? 8 miles per hour, 9 miles per hour?
yeah.
So
It was
slow.
so slow. Like old ladies were kind of walking faster than we were pushing through on those little
Oh
loops. But
man.
um, no, we were talking about it on my stream yesterday because what was it? One viewer was saying it was accidentally the funniest hour on Twitch. Was watching was watching us try to pass that quiz in Japanese, full of double negatives and triple negatives. It was actually pretty funny. I think that'll be a highlight reel at some point. But I mean, you didn't look like you were having fun, but I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah,
Just,
I play it up for the camera.
yeah. I think that was what it was
We
good
have, we have,
because
we have fun, man.
yeah, you were playing the serious part, and I was playing like I was just sitting there laughing at it. So it was good. It was a lot of fun.
I'm
But
not really angry that
yeah, of
that
course.
Atsugiri Jason stole my thunder, or that like I can't pass a 12 question driver safety test in Japanese.
It was just so ridiculous because like it's not okay to not put your child on your back while you ride. Like how many negatives we have to go through here. But that
It
was a
is
fun
certainly
part of
not
it.
allowed to drive after drinking. However, you may have one beer. Yes or no? Like, wait,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, right. These questions, they made them purposely ridiculous. But anyways, that was a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm assuming that the loop ride won't be included. But we went on a ramen tour. We got on a train. We went somewhere. We had, yeah, like I said, some of the best ramen I've ever had. That Niboshi ramen, and then we went to a craft beer place, and I had a $25 can of beer, which was pretty damn good. But
You had the alchemist, man. You had
yeah,
the
that
the
was it
uh, the
was amazing.
the heady topper.
Yeah, yeah. I was so nice. So as someone who's been on this tour, and thank you so much for taking me on that, and it was also on
Pleasure.
the stream. Uh, I can say that it's amazing. And if I was visiting Japan, and like my first 2 times I came to Japan, I came as a trip in college, and I probably had just very basic ramen. Like maybe it was probably a chain, because I didn't know better. And I thought, hey, this is good, but this isn't as good as people seem to make it out to be. So I was like, I like it, but it's ramen. It's like the Mexican food of Japan for me. So I thought at the time. It's like you can't really go wrong. It's all gonna be good. You just hop into a place. But having been on this tour, I really feel that anyone visiting Japan would benefit from being a part of it because, I mean, you are a legend in the industry in the field of ramen, but you also can bring people a new appreciation. Like I've really come to love anything I have with ramen now because of you. So I think that is 100% worth booking a tour, and I really think anybody should do that if you're going to come visit Japan.
Yeah, thank you, man. Come
Yeah,
experience ramen hunting with me. It's
yeah, no, that's. I mean, it was an absolute pleasure. It was so much fun. The loop stuff was just bonus. That was such a great part too. But yeah, so you get to try new stuff and you get to meet a lot of interesting people, I imagine, as well. I know you probably can't really discuss your customers details, but I'm sure you've had some very interesting clientele as well at some point, whether it's maybe content creators or even I'd imagine famous people at some point.
With my tours, I mean, yeah, I've had a media people and
Nice.
not not. I mean, I've had a few like famous people, but yeah, like nothing like nothing insane. Like, I mean, the best I can talk about the one that hit me was I had the guy who wrote Pitch Perfect.
Oh, okay. All right.
Remember this movie?
Yeah. I don't know
I
if,
love that movie. It's a movie about like with a cappella groups
okay, maybe I didn't see it, but have heard the name.
with Anna Kendrick. Is that her name? Uh, and it's just this goofy like kind of 2000s rom-com, but it's just a cappella groups, and it's such a goof. It's one of those goofy movies that I go back to every once in a while. But the guy who wrote the stuff it's based on, I had a tour with him. He's like a media guy, and I had to wait till the very end. I was like, bro, like I love your movie. It's so like goofy, and I watched it. But I mean, yeah, we get some, we get people sometimes interesting. That was probably the most famous. Never had any like superstars or anything.
Have you thought to reach? I mean, that's actually pretty cool because I've never met anyone who wrote a movie that I actually liked or anything like that. But have you thought about sort of reaching towards Japanese customers? Because there's probably, or have you already? Because there's probably a lot of people, Japanese people in Japan who would really love to just go with you on a tour, and it's like a huge market, right?
Yeah,
But
no, I haven't reached out about that. I don't know how I'd market that. I'm like, yeah, I have no idea.
if you could, would you do that? I mean, if there was a way that'd be easy for you, like, through a website or something, because your
Yeah, why
Japanese
not?
level is quite good as well, so you'd be able to converse and explain that's what's going on with the ramen and have a good time, I imagine.
Yeah, hey, I mean, I definitely wouldn't say no. Right,
That's
I gotta look
cool.
into this.
Yeah. I mean, I would have figured that would have been something you would have looked into during the pandemic because that obviously would have affected the ramen tours quite a bit, as I imagine it did.
Interesting. I wonder, are there, what's the scene for like food tours in Japan for Japanese people?
I'm sure they exist.
Right?
Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, well, there you go. Oh, if something comes of it, then I'm happy that at least I get the idea out there. Awesome. I don't know if there is, but I would imagine. I mean, especially Tokyo is a place where you got people coming from all over the country. Someone comes from the countryside and they're just overwhelmed. They don't know what to do in Tokyo, whether they're visiting for a week or they actually just moved here. But yeah, I meet these people sometimes. I hang out in Nakabane a lot, and I meet these people who are just like come from some random middle of nowhere place, and they're just still like, oh, they're so shocked. So I give some recommendations, and they're so happy. Um, it's just like things that I like. Oh, like, oh, there's a shop down the street that has really good oden or something, and then they're like, wow, thank you so much. But yeah, okay, very cool. Well, what I would love to talk about now, I guess, is just where you're going, what's happening with Ramen Adventures going forward. So we talked about you really wanted to get out of the country, wanted to get into more traveling abroad now that it's kind of more normalized at this point.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, what is the future for Ramen Adventures?
Right. Well, continue the website, keep reviewing these shops. My posts are over 1 year backdated now, so I'm playing catch up.
Wow.
I went to a lot of new shops during the pandemic, so I got to catch up with those. But overseas, yeah, before the pandemic, I started doing these pop-ups. So I'd bring a Japanese chef with me and we travel to another country. I have a lot of friends in the restaurant industry, so we'd be hosted at a restaurant. We'd bring ingredients over and we'd do like a weekend pop-up event. It was super fun, super interesting, but I'd like to do that more. And, we had a lot of stuff planned for 2020 that got, got the rain check. But I'm back in talks with chefs overseas about hosting
Awesome.
us in their countries. I'm talking with a hotel restaurant in Kuala Lumpur right now. I'm talking with people in Germany, in a few cities in the U.S. So yeah, we got all these in Paris. So we got all these people who want to host us, and I just kind of got to figure out make it more streamlined, more of a system.
Hmm.
Because these Japanese chefs, you say like, hey, like just come with me, like don't worry about it. It sounds a little bit risky for them, so I have to assure them that
Right.
it's going to be a good time,
Hmm.
and also have to figure a way to get them a little money for their efforts as well.
Yeah. But
But I would like to be doing this more often. It's great to combine travel with ramen hunting, and it kind of makes your travel worthwhile, in my opinion.
yeah. Do you ever write about the ramen shops you go to abroad, or you keep it strictly to Japan?
No, no, I do write about all my overseas ramen
Nice.
experiences as well. Yep.
That's incredible. So your website, it has a map where you can actually look at an area and just you can see your reviews, your ratings, things like that. I,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think it's a great resource, especially for visitors to Japan too. So ramenadventures.com, very easy to remember as well. I have
Yeah.
used it a few times when I'm traveling. I just and a shop that if I find a shop I do like, I'm always curious what your review was too. So it's a good site, guys. Check it out, definitely. And yeah, I don't know, anything you'd like to promote or talk about before we wrap up.
No, I mean, on social media, everywhere is Ramen Adventures. YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, the website, Twitter, Facebook. I have, but it's all just automated posting on those. However, you can hit me up through any of these things.
Mhm.
If you use the site, let me know. I always, if you tag me in Instagram, I'll probably repost it.
Awesome.
We're having fun out here. When you come to Japan, make sure you enjoy ramen. That's
Yeah.
that's it. Just enjoy your life.
The
Get
the
some good
main thing,
food.
yeah, it's so much more than I imagined, and I think that's what I really loved about what I love about your blog, and what I love about having ramen with you is it's a culture, it's a lifestyle. It's not just like a some generic food you have when you're drunk at 3 a.m., but it's actually like it's a whole world. It's very exciting. So
That's right, man. It's the maximum umami. It's the ultimate comfort
the
food.
maximum mommy, I love it.
Slurping ramen.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that you made the time. I know you're really busy. I know probably neither of us slept very much, but I no, I do appreciate that, and looking forward to uh, the ramen tour video. If you're, I don't know if you're working on that.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
should have the one with us out this week or next week.
sweet. I'll link that here too.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, that's I think about it. I'm sure we'll be hanging sometime soon. Also, your Twitch is how active are you on Twitch? You do it like once or twice a week?
I'd like to do a once a week schedule, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure that out.
Right.
I
Right.
haven't streamed in the new year at all, I think. But yeah,
Mm,
no, I think once a week. I'd like to do this Friday night izakaya thing. I
oh,
was
that'd be
doing
cool.
that pretty regularly back in the day.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun, but
The
yeah, we'll see.
izakaya streams are nice. They're always fun to show like the little bits of food and drinks, and it's nice. It's like you're actually in the izakaya with the streamer. I think that's a
Yeah,
nice vibe for a lot of people. I do enjoy those too.
absolutely.
Nice. All right, man. Well, you have a wonderful day, and yeah, let's keep in touch. We'll be talking soon, I'm sure.
Take it easy.